As requested, I've brought you a filmmaker, a Saudi filmmaker.
Well, Senor was played in Sweden, it was played in Algeria, it was played in China. If you want to be a professional filmmaker, you have to make a feature film. If you're serious about being a filmmaker, it's a tough career and it's 90% rejection. How can we make Saudi films that actually make money?
Can you make money in film, or is it the starving artist narrative, or is it profitable? Can you make an income, a steady income in film?
What money do you mean? Do you mean like millionaires? Do you mean like
I don't know, you tell
enough
me.
to pay the rent?
I'm asking a lot of off-topic questions.
No, it's okay. But it's actually
'Cause I'm
it's
curious.
brilliant. It's great.
I'm curious because
Yeah.
I'm putting myself in the mind of like a fresh grad,
I love it.
like wannabe filmmaker.
Yeah.
Wannabe is a bad word, but like wanting to pursue to be a filmmaker.
Networking is a big key in the film industry.
I really admire how passionate you are about the sector. It's not just a job for you. This is what you want to build for the future. Welcome back to Discussions. Thank you so much for joining us, and a very special thank you to Udmeshdad for helping make this episode possible. Today's episode is going to be very, very special. As requested, I've brought you a filmmaker, a Saudi filmmaker. We have Aymen Khoja joining me today. He's a Saudi filmmaker and producer. He's also the founder of AK Pictures. I almost said Productions, AK Pictures. Aymen, thank you so much for joining me on Discussions.
Yes, I'm very happy to be here and thank you so much for having me.
No, it's going to be amazing. You're the first filmmaker on Discussions. That's going to be exciting.
That's an honor. That's an honor. And I hope I bring the simple impact.
The honor is mine, genuinely. So let's go back in time. For our viewers that don't know, who is Aymen Khoja? Give us a brief introduction into your career and how you got into filmmaking.
I am a film producer, director. I graduated from New York Film Academy, Los Angeles. I have been working in the industry for more than 14 years. I love telling stories since I was a child. I used to be the guy who sits with my sisters and brothers and tell the stories of what happened in the day and what happened yesterday. And if I hear someone, I remember my sister always would choose me to, I want to hear from Aymen because Aymen tells the story better. So yeah, I mean, I took that. I think she empowered me in that sense, and she kind of gave me the idea that I'm a storyteller. And then from there, I started to learn more about storytelling. And also, my mom helped me once, or actually many times, by being a production designer in the house. She always tell me, where should we put the couch? Should we put what color we should paint the wall? So I think these skills again from my family helped me a lot to explore myself in the storytelling industry. So I started working in commercials for 2 years as a production assistant and editor, and I did everything in productions. And then from there, I start asking questions: why I'm doing this way? Like, why are we putting the light this way? Why are we coloring it? What's the philosophy behind this? And that led me to study masters in film in New York Film Academy. So I hope that kind of answered the
It's a good
question.
summary. No, I noticed the asking questions. I was a bit nervous about bringing you on Discussions as a filmmaker. I was thinking he's going to ask about these cameras and the lighting. I was like, I hope our setup's impressive for him because
It's a great setup.
you're like this big shot international filmmaker. And, you know, we're still getting there, but it's
No,
good.
you guys are doing great. And I think
Thanks, Aymen.
you're in the right path.
Inshallah. So I want Discussions to be as educational as possible. And a lot of our viewers are under the age of 35. They are youthful. So I want to ask you, how did you know that this is the career you wanted to pursue? How did you know you wanted to go into filmmaking?
Okay. I mean, as I mentioned, it was something that I think I collected from the people around me, like in unexpected way. You know, my mom was telling me to do stuff, my sister was telling me to do stuff, and as I explore like my life living, I studied business in my bachelor, so I did not knew back then that I'm gonna be a filmmaker. I was just exploring, and I liked making deals and meeting people and networking, and maybe that's why I chose business. But once I got offers from different corporate companies, I went to their like day-to-day life, and I saw it, and I just did not see myself as the guy that would work from 9 to 5. And I wanted something that doesn't have a routine, something that always changing and moving. And I found production. I discovered production I was like, okay, maybe this is all aligned in here. And I tried it and I loved it. And it was really fun. We used to film in Jeddah, Riyadh. We used to travel all over the place. That was when I was 20, 21. And then we went to Everest. So I got to travel to places.
Wow.
I went to base camp filming. So then I started to learn more about the whole process. So when I went to school, to answer your question, to if my one of my professor, his name is Nils Taylor, and he told me, Ayman, if you want to be a professional filmmaker, you have to make a feature film. Like even at school, you're making shorts. It's good, but the short is to promote your skills as a filmmaker. You know, that's why you make a short film. You're not gonna make money. It's not a professional. You're just gonna make the short to show skills and show your talent. But if you really wanna present yourself to the world as a professional filmmaker, you need to make a feature film length because that's how you're gonna learn about the business of making a movie, you know, and you're gonna actually have to bring money back to the investors. And you're gonna learn how to pitch your story to investors and how are you gonna bring the money back and all the revenue streams. So it's a whole huge process that you need to learn. And I was like, okay, you know, I'm up for the challenge. And I remember I was the only student actually that year that I was studying the feature track because they had after the first year, you have two different tracks for another short to do the thesis, or you do a feature film for your thesis. And that's I would say everyone is afraid of taking
Mm.
because it's just like no one graduates with a feature. It was hard, but I did.
What was your
So
first feature film? What did you make?
I made a movie. It's called Shoot. It has two names. In the Arab world, it's called The Arabian Warrior, and in the US, it's called Shoot. We worked with with amazing actors, Patrick Fabian from Better Call Saul, the show, and Amir Al Masri from film Ramadan Mabruk Abu Alamin Hammoud حق Muhammad Hinaidi. So it was really a fun project. It was about a Saudi guy who wants to play football, soccer in the
Mhm.
United States, and he's torn between the two different cultures.
But that's a good start. Even the list of actors, and it's your first feature film. That's a pretty good place to be.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Mashallah.
I learned a lot from them, so I'm grateful to have them because they had so much record.
Mhm.
So all the experiences they had, they just passed it on to me on that film.
Yeah.
So it was really fun to film in Los Angeles. So it was really cool.
Interesting. Let's jump to AK Pictures. Tell
Okay.
us, what is AK Pictures? When did you start it? What was the intention behind it?
So AK Pictures is 2 years old, 2 years and a half. And the reason why we founded the company, honestly, because we wanted to be a place where we empower filmmakers, you know, storytellers, writers, directors, producers. And we wanted to do, we want to be the voice for them, you know,
Mm.
like, and we want to treat filmmakers the right, with the right, I would say, with the right attitude, you know, like you want to empower the filmmakers through the entire process. Like you want to respect their voice, you want to empower their voice, you want to give them the platform where they can get at nowhere else in the Middle East, you
Mm.
know. And I think we found that, me personally, working in so many different studios in the Middle East, I did not find the freedom that I can, or the respect for my talent and my voice. So I wanted to be that platform where I can give the filmmakers that they deserve, the time they need, the money they need, the voice or the space they need, so they can make films that deserve to be told, you know. And that's the story behind AK Pictures. And we successfully made our first feature film, Senor.
Yeah. That's what
That
we're going to jump to the next topic. Okay. So, for everyone that doesn't know at home, this is the director behind El Senor. I mean, the film was, what was it, for the longest time, Netflix's top, what
top
was it?
2 weeks for top one in Saudi.
This is huge.
Yeah,
Yani
it's
for a Saudi film, yani to hold that position, yani across the country, across cities, and it has such an impactful message behind it. I mean, the first time I saw it, it was just, I thought it was a comedic movie, and then you leave the cinema and you start thinking, you're like, okay, there's a real message behind it. Why did you decide to create El Senor, and what was the process in making that?
okay. So you know, I was fired from a big studio company, and I'm not gonna mention the name
Yeah.
in the Middle East, and so that motivated me to kind of like tell stories in the way we want to tell as local filmmakers. And so I pitched so many ideas. I pitched 20 different ideas with proper business plans and proper like slate, and got a lot of rejections. And then I was telling my partner, what if I was a foreigner? If I maybe I had a blonde hair and maybe blue eyes, and my name was Michael, maybe I would have got the investment easily. But I said, okay, maybe that's a good idea for a movie, and that's how we came up with the idea. And then we pitched that idea, and we got funds, and we got investors, and they loved the message, and they believed in it. And it was very challenging to honestly finance the film, but we managed to pull it off. And I'm very proud of the film, and I'm very proud to be number one in Netflix for 2 weeks, and to be in the Saudi box office, and to actually bring the money back to the film. And I think it's a great success commercially and from financial perspective.
And then can I ask you, how did you navigate it? I mean, it's not I don't want to say sensitive topic, but I know people might, look at the film concept and then have different perceptions of it, different ideas of it. So what was the feedback you received most from the film?
Honestly, feedback was very positive.
Okay.
People loved the film. I mean, we studied the film very well because, as you said, like it's a little bit. You don't want to offend the expat, and also you don't want to offend the locals. So it's a little bit. It's a very sensitive subject. So we carefully wanted to make a comedy. Make people laugh at the situation, and even the ending, I don't want to burn it out to the listeners, but even the ending of the film is, it just doesn't, we're not here to solve the problem, we're here to talk about it and laugh and have a good time. And yeah, so that was the purpose of the film, like we wanted to address the issue, but in a fun comedic way. And I'm glad that it did not cause any trouble for anyone,
Yeah.
or so it's a fun film, and the audience loved it, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah. And I think with most, new topics, new concepts, or even sensitive topics, approaching them through a comedic lens, I think connects people. That shows a side where they can understand it and it's not too political, not too intense, even if we come from different perspectives.
Yeah, and the world also now, there's a lot of drama happening, so you want to bring people, I think
Lighthearted,
after a long day they just want to go home and maybe watch something light, something
silly, and
fun,
fun. Yeah, I agree.
and but with a message too, why
Yeah.
not, so I think we did a good job with that.
I agree. You did such a good job that it's taking you to New York soon in July, right?
Yes,
Is it the BAM and the Brooklyn Academy of Music,
yes.
right? So tell us about the screening they're going to be holding. They're screening your Saudi film in New York.
Yeah, so 2 weeks ago we received this invitation from the US,
Mhm.
like from BAM to screen the film in New York. And I mean, to be honest, being invited, they're taking me there. It's a huge honor, and I'm so happy for this. I always wanted, when I was young, I always wanted to bridge cultures, and I always wanted to bring people together, and I wanted our stories to be told and shared. So El Senor was played in Sweden, it was played in Algeria, it was played in China, and it was played in Netflix in all the Arab countries, and now it's going to the US, and it's playing in New York, in Brooklyn.
That's amazing.
It's something that I can't wait to see the feedback of the audience, and I'm sure they're gonna love it, and they're gonna laugh at it.
No, but it's well deserved, honestly. I
Yeah.
couldn't think of someone like I'm very biased, Yanni, but I couldn't think of a filmmaker that deserves it more. By the way, Eamon and I met during Cannes Film Festival. How many? 2 years ago? I can't do 3 years ago. Four?
Three to four.
2022.
Yeah, 2022. Yeah,
It's been a long time.
been a
I'm
long
not
time.
biased, Yanni, but you are an incredible filmmaker. I will
Thank
say
you.
that.
Thank you.
Even, the frames, the scenes. I don't want to ruin it too much, but the opening scene of El Senor was so creative. It was so like it gives you, even as if you're a foreigner you're watching the film, it gives you a good idea of what a Saudi household looks like, the way they communicate, the jokes and everything. I thought it was so personal. You did a really good job with it.
Thank you.
Um, I'm going to jump around the questions a little bit. So, you're approaching filmmaking differently than what I've seen in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So, I want to ask you, how are you contributing to creating a sustainable, and I want to focus on this word, sustainable film industry in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia?
So I think it's a very good question, and it's very important to create a Saudi film sustainable. Like to aim for that. It's very important. And what I mean is by it's how can you make movies that actually bring money back. With the size of our
Mhm.
market. especially for the local industry. It's important to bring foreign films to come and film, like we've seen, like big Hollywood movies comes and film in Neom and Alola. But I think for the local market to strive and stand out, I think we need to think of a way where how can we make Saudi films that actually make money, and bring money back to the investors. And we need to look at the whole chain, like from a distribution point of view, from a sponsorship point of view, from a rebate point of view. And we're coming up with a formula now where we actually want to do pre-sale with distributions, and also looking at the rebate, calculate the risk of that, and also calculate the risk from sponsorship. So we're looking at a place where actually we want to guarantee our investors there is zero risk. And it's very hard in the film industry to make a movie with zero risk. And I think today at AK Pictures with my team, we're coming down where we can reduce the cost, and we can actually guarantees almost zero risk, where you can invest in films and you return your money before even start filming. And I think we have to think like that as Saudi filmmakers, because today you're competing against Egyptian films, you're competing against Hollywood films, and if you increase the cost of the Saudi productions with the segment of our audience watching, like in Saudi, as compared to the Western, and also with the size of our market, it's really hard to recoup. So that's why I believe a Saudi film shouldn't cost more than 3 million riyal, which is almost $1 million. So I think if you spend money within that range to produce a film, and I know today the cost is way higher than this number, because there's a lot of grants and a lot of fund, but we need to be aware that we have to look at it from a sustainable way. We have to look at it from an ROI perspective for the local market to survive, this time.
And I want to speak about the practicals, like you said, about filmmaking. Money. I mean, it's very costly, especially if you're just starting out. Where are you receiving funding primarily? Would you say it's more private sector, governmental sector, or where can a filmmaker acquire funding for their film?
I mean, today, like in Saudi, there's so many different targets you can target when it comes to receiving
Funding.
fund. Like ITHRA, the Saudi Film Cash, the Saudi Film Commission, they have the Daw, and then you have NEOM, you have the Red Sea Film Festival, you have the Saudi Film Festival. There's so many different entities as a government, they can give you the support. And I think for me personally, I know that this cycle for the money to comes from these entities, it might take longer time. That's why I personally prefer private fund, because it's way faster. Like if you can convince an investor, someone with the right business plan, I think your turnaround circle to produce the film, it's way faster than receiving the fund from a government, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
Break it down for me. Pretend like I'm not interested in making a film, but break it down for me. If I'm putting myself in the mind of a fresh grad, a filmmaker,
Right.
no, it's a new network, barely has any like private sector, big name investor connections. Where do they start if they want to acquire funding for their film from private sector, private investors? Where do they start?
Okay. So if you're a fresh graduate, and I think first step you need to make is you promote yourself as a filmmaker. So you need to create a short film. Okay, that's the best way to promote yourself as a filmmaker and to promote your skills. Try to put it on festivals. Try to put it after that. Maybe put it on YouTube. Promote it. Show the world that you're good at what you do. You're good at directing. And like I'm good at directing a story about a mom and a daughter, or
Mhm.
about what's the genre you want to make in the film. Are you into action? Make a short action short film. Are you into drama? Make a drama short film. Are you into comedy? Make a comedy short film. Promote yourself at what good at what are the good things that you can make.
Yeah.
After that, it's gonna be a long shot. So after that, maybe it takes a year to make two shorts or maybe one short, and then after that, now you promote yourself. Now you have a record, and you can go prep a business plan. And you need to learn about the investors, and you need the investment. You need to learn about the entire circle. You need to learn about the revenue. Like you need to break down the revenue streams. box office and streamers and TV and airlines, and you need to calculate all the risk. How much are you going to generate from each, like when it comes to projections, and then you prep that business plan, and then you start creating a list of the people that you might think that introduce you to people who has access to money, and then you have to meet everyone. And if anyone tells you no, you go, oh, and you're 90%, they're going to say no. So you have to always aim for that 10%. One guy that maybe, okay, let me meet you, and then you meet there and going with 1% hope or 10% hope. And hopefully that person will give you the key or at least maybe introduce you to another investor or someone that have access. And that's what I do, and that's what I do until today.
You're very good at networking, by the way. I've noticed that.
Yeah,
You're very good at networking.
I keep meeting interesting people. Yeah, and it's important to network. I mean, networking, you have to be in Cannes, you have to pay to be in the Red Sea Film Festival. Again, if you're serious about being a filmmaker, it's a tough career, and it's 90% rejection. So you have to know that. You have to have a thick skin. You have to have an alligator skin. Think of an alligator.
But it's a good analogy when you think of it. It's like journalism. We're used to rejection. Now, if someone says no, it means nothing to me. You just get used to rejection. Plus, it's fine.
Yeah. Next, like, okay, you're going there. Listen, I have this Lexus. I'm gonna sell it to you for half the price.
Great deal.
You want to buy it or not? If you don't waste my time. I don't want to waste your time. It's the same thing with the movie. This is the movie. I'm not here like begging for money. It's not a charity. It's not a support. It's an investment, and this is how we should be thinking as filmmakers. And then hopefully this film makes a lot of money in the box office, and with the rebate the government is giving you. And you can go the other way around. You can go to the funds. It might take you 2-3 years to make your film, but at the end of the day, eventually you'll get the money and you'll make the film. But the reason why that, alhamdulillah, every time we make films in a faster like turnaround is because of we're aiming always private sector, and I think private sector is it moves fast.
I want to backtrack a little bit. Okay, I am a young filmmaker, just graduated, don't have a lot of money to my name. Can I make a feature film on my phone, or do I need a fancy professional camera? Be honest.
It depends on your budget. You said, did you say
I'm a freshly graduated filmmaker. I'm 21 years old. I have a phone, and that's it. Can I make a feature film?
Yes, you can. Definitely. I think the most important part is the story and the characters and the actors. And you can get them, you can train an actor, you can find a good story, and you can work with your friends. The equipment, it's the least thing we should think about, honestly. Especially at this stage, we need to tell stories, and you need to tell a story by finding the right angle, understanding the camera movements, and you can do that with your iPhone. You can do that with, and guess what? Today with AI and post production, it's crazy. Like you can actually make an iPhone look like an Alexa. Like you can actually. I know maybe people find it silly because people want to film with Alexa. They want to film with a high quality cameras, but I think filming with your phone and knowing how to use the technology nowadays in post production is going to elevate your film into the next level.
Yeah, it's a good starting point. It's fine. Okay, so you talked about themes and
actually, this is one I get a lot of questions from young filmmakers, and I think the most important thing, you need to believe that actually you can tell a story, because most people think that I need a chance. No one called me to produce or direct or tell a story. I pitched to Red Sea Film Fund, but they never responded. I pitched but if you look at it, you actually don't need anyone. You can do it yourself. You can just, if you're a director, writer, you can write it yourself. You can find your friends, find the crew around you, and just do it, and you will have a feature film, and you'll learn so much. I think it's way better than investing money on going to workshops. Maybe workshop is important. I'm not saying they're not, but I think you're going to learn so much from just getting there and getting dirty and just do the film, go make a short film, and you'll find, oh, I did it, and that's how I started. I was like, okay, you know what? I did my first feature back then in 2016. I managed to get the fund, and there was no even like cinemas in Saudi, So that's why we shot in LA. But I'm saying, just do it, and you're gonna learn that, oh, I don't need anyone to do it. So you can do it again and again and again and again. And every time you do it better.
Weird question. We might even cut this out depending on how, if you want to or not. You decided to pursue filmmaking before films were allowed to be screened in Saudi Arabia. Why? What did
Um,
you see in that? Did you see any potential? Did you see, or was it just the passion that drove you, or what
I,
was it?
I think I was passionate about bridging cultures. I love telling story. I wanted to tell our stories to the world. I wanted to, like so many other Saudi filmmakers too, and so many other Saudi filmmakers, friends of mine, and we all share the same passion of telling high quality stories. And we always watch at our previous work, from drama and films, and they're good, but we wanted to always make our like films look like Hollywood films, or like like a high quality film, And I feel I went to study this by the government. They sent me for scholarship to study film. So I want to contribute this. I want to be part of this move. I wanted to help building a better films for my people. And I think we're so lucky with the Vision 2030 and with what MBS brought to us. It's amazing, and it empowered us, and it gave us so many opportunities. And look at us today. We have 66 cinemas in
Mm.
Saudi.
Yeah,
We have how many film production company today? Like
a lot.
maybe 20, 30, And it's just 5 years, and it's still growing. And how, like last year, we had 16 Saudi films released in the Saudi box office. So on this year, I think it's going to grow, and the number of the box office is growing. We're, I think, top 10 worldwide, when it comes to the film box office. So
That's amazing.
yeah.
Amen. Like we talked about this last time I saw you and we spoke. I see you as an expert in filmmaking. I know, okay, you say you're the creator of AK Pictures, but I see you as so much more than that. I see you as a genuine expert. I'm asking you these questions. These are not written down. We haven't practiced this, right? The questions that I'm just approaching you with randomly now. And you know them all. You know the answers. You can give me the figures about how many cinemas we have, about how many films that have been produced in Saudi. You can probably give me box office numbers as well if I asked you. Like you're quite literally, what I'm saying is I really admire how passionate you are about the sector. It's not just a job for you. This is what you want to build for the future.
Yeah, I mean, I spend a lot of time studying the market. I study the audience. I study the infrastructure. With my team, we develop stories for the audience. We even invest a lot of time in the technology and the process of making the film. How can we make films smoother, faster? So yeah, I mean, I'm happy you put it that way and you see me in
It's
that
true.
way.
I do. As a journalist, I am biased, yeah, but I am unbiased as well. A little bit. Okay, so let's talk about character and character traits. What character traits do you believe are needed to be a filmmaker or make a successful filmmaker?
I think relatable characters.
Okay.
I think we did a study before when I was working for View. It's a platform, an online platform based in Dubai. So I used to work with them, and we did the study back then, and we found that what Saudis wants to watch is something authentic, something real. Like they like realism when it comes to local content. If ما يمثلهم, if it doesn't look like them, they're not going to be
Can't
interested
relate
in
to it.
watching. So I think it doesn't mean that we're not into sci-fi and we're not into horror, or we're not. No, I think, how can we make our own sci-fi? How can we make it local? How can we make it relevant to the local
Market.
audience?
Hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's very important. Also, I think what I want to see more in Saudi, like films, honestly, is how does the Saudi house look like? you
Yep.
know and I was the other day with His Highness Turki Shabana, and we were talking about this conversation. Is like, if you tell you how does the American house look like, you will know,
Hmm.
even if someone never went to the US, because you watch a lot of American movies and you just know that the house, the car parked outside, and how do they have an argument. But if you look at the Saudi household, like, how does it look like? And I think we would like to see that in cinema. How does parents argue with their kids, how uh, you
I
know
shouldn't laugh. Yeah.
it's I think it's real, and it's relevant, and I think it's we want to see more like of Saudi stories, just family
Authentic.
stories, drama, comedy, and I think that's important for the world, and the world is interested to see how does the Saudi look like, and I think from that angle it's very important, and that's also aligned with our vision, like how can you make movies with great budgets for the Saudi market,
Yeah.
And I think if you have all that formula together, the story, it's controlled, I would say, environment with controlled characters. I think it's all help you to build that sustainable infrastructure that we're going for.
I want a same question, but I want to flip it, different perspective. Um, what do you think you as a filmmaker, what personality traits or character traits do you have that make you successful in the sector?
Resilience, and I think you have to be unstoppable. You have to be a go-getter. You have to be someone that will do anything unstoppable. You got to be the unstoppable. You got to be Batman.
Used to be about like Bruce Wayne. We talked about this.
you gotta like stay up at night thinking, how am I gonna tackle this tomorrow? What's the next step? What's the next strategy? How can I approach these investors? If they say no to me, who's next? Because again, it's 90% rejection, and I'm always and this actually, that's number one. Number two is you have to always be someone who's looking for progress over perfection.
Okay.
Like I know a lot of filmmakers, they have great stories but they haven't told them yet because they think it's not ready yet. It's not enough. I need to make it like this. I need to edit it another time. I need to give a note to the editor more time. And I think
Yeah.
that's just only slowing you down. But imagine if you progress and you get it done and you learn from the whole experience and you just do it again and again and do it better. If you look at my first short and look at my last film, you're gonna say, wow, there's like a huge change in this guy, like elevations when it comes to storytelling, camera angles, everything. And I'm still learning, and I learned so much from a Senor that in the next film I think it's gonna be way better, like from story, from camera, from everything.
Do you already have that concept for that film ready? You don't have to
Yes.
say it, but do you?
Yeah, we do. I can say it. It's called Al Warta.
Okay, what is it about?
It's about two brothers.
I think did we talk about this? I don't remember. But go ahead, tell me.
So it's an adventure slash suspense slash comedy. It's about two brothers. The older brother feels outdated a little bit. He's seeing his younger brother succeeding more in gaming. He gets jealous, and he wishes that he takes his younger brother place. So it's about them
Like Freaky Friday, but Saudi.
but then one of them gets stuck in a well. I know it's
like
so
a
random.
twist.
No, but
Okay.
basically they're driving from a city to another city. They're out of Riyadh. They're going to Riyadh, and then the younger brother says, "I want to use the bathroom real quick in the middle of the way." So they go off roading a little bit for the younger brother to do his thing, and then he gets stuck in a well.
Okay.
So now the older brother goes down to help him from the well to pull him up, but then he gets stuck in there, and the younger brother is up there. So now they have to overcome their jealousy and their drama and their childhood trauma to overcome, and they come together again to solve the problem with the well, and then the older brother helped the younger brother to go, and I
That's
just ruined the whole
interesting.
movie. But
No, you didn't ruin the. I like.
no,
By the way, no, I need to know the ending of everything. Game of Thrones, I needed to know the ending. Friends, I needed to know the ending, and then I watched the show.
no, but I think it's story is important because we as brothers. I talk about from my personal experience, but I think also we have a lot of siblings in Saudi. Alhamdulillah for them.
And I have
yani,
6
amazing. Yeah, I
others.
have 7.
Mashallah.
So
Count.
we're 7 in total. So I have 6. So it's really fun to see the dynamic between each other, and especially if you're in the middle, which I am in the middle. So you always see the one in the top achieving and getting I don't know, clapping
All
and
the praise and everything.
and then the one in the younger also getting all the spoiling and all that, and you feel like, oh, I need to do something, I need to grab the attention, I need to do something like that. So there's always this dynamic between brothers. So that's why I think it's a great topic to discuss. And at the end of the day, they're brothers. And what I like about brothers relationship also is that we can fight in the house
Mhm.
so much, like almost to like kill each other, but we go outside, we're fine. When we meet people, like, oh yeah, this is my brother, and like I'm proud of him.
Meanwhile, 10 minutes ago in the car.
2 minutes ago, like,
Literally.
yeah, I go in the car, I was about to slap.
Literally.
So,
That's family.
yeah.
Okay, so I want to ask you, very practical. We did an interview with a musician, okay, and I asked her this question, and I want to ask you this similar question. Can you make money in film, or is it the starving artist narrative, or is it profitable? Can you make an income, a steady income in film?
I think it's very challenging. You
Okay.
can. It's very challenging, especially at an like emerging market. Like today we're only 5 years old. Uh, I know maybe the notion is there's a lot of government funds and there's a lot of
Opportunity.
supports and opportunity, but I think you have to be. I mean, it depends on like what money do you mean? Do you mean like millionaires? Do you mean like
I don't know. You tell
enough to
me.
pay the rent?
Enough
Enough
to
to
survive. So pay the rent and live
yeah.
comfortably. Not luxury, but comfortable.
Yeah, I think it's doable. Yes,
Okay.
I mean I do this full time.
Yeah.
I have some days where like I don't know where am I gonna be after 3 months with finance.
Mhm.
But sometimes, usually because you're a go getter, because you're a problem solver, you always find a way for your next film. And your stories, your films is the fuel. Like you have to have a story ready to tell, so you can fund for it,
Yeah.
and you pay yourself from the fund you raise. And it's always like this. You have to always keep on the go. Especially, I believe maybe in down the road, once you have a name and once you have a credit, then you will be able to have more funds and bigger funds, sustain it for a longer time.
Yeah. But you know what? Like, I will say one thing, like, subhanAllah, even if you keep trying, keep trying, keep trying, the opportunities will come. Yani they come out of nowhere sometimes where you're least expecting it. I don't want someone to watch this video and go, I'm not going to be a filmmaker then. I'm going to be broke. No, there's opportunities.
Yeah. But I think if you want to be a filmmaker to make money, like to be a
Maybe
millionaire, maybe that's not like a good fit for you.
realistic.
But I think if you are in the industry because you love it and you love telling stories, then you can compromise money for it. Not zero money. You're gonna make money, but again, like I think down the line, think long term, and that's what we all think is like building sustainable industry. And that's a long term plan, like where young. I hope that I can contribute to build an economy for the next generation, where younger filmmakers comes in and they say, okay, this is the path. I want to be a director. I'm going to work for this company, and it's all established. I want to be part of, like, if you're graduating today, let's say you're a doctor or you're an engineer, you know where to apply. There are so many
Yeah.
jobs, there are so many companies. But let's say you're a director and you just graduated. Where do you go? And how do you apply? So I want to help them navigate that path. At least just I will die in peace. If I help.
Can I, because I don't know a lot about film, can I compare it to, for example, an industry that's already been set there for years? For example, Hollywood. If someone were to graduate as a director, a filmmaker, and they're in the world of Hollywood, are there places they can apply now online that we don't
Um,
have yet?
I mean, it's yeah, yes and no. So basically, it's not like a job, full time job, but
Okay.
it's mainly like it's to get. There's a process, so you can make a feature film, and if you make a feature film, then you're eligible to be part of that union. And if you're part of that union, and if you apply for that union and you're
Okay.
part of it, then you're guaranteed a certain amount of jobs per year. You know.
Okay, so it's a union
So
based.
there's a union
Got it.
base. There's an you can also approach an agent, and the agent will help you secure jobs. But again, an agent won't acquire you without promoting your skills. Like you need to make a short film that goes into Sundance Film Festival or goes into Cannes Film Festival. So then,
Okay. I'm going to try to go faster. I'm
let's,
asking a lot of off topic questions
no, it's okay. But actually, it's actually
because I'm
it's
curious.
brilliant. It's great.
I'm curious because
Yeah,
I'm putting myself in the mind of like a fresh grad,
I love it.
wannabe filmmaker.
Yeah.
Wannabe is a bad word, but like wanting to pursue to be a filmmaker. Okay, next question. Networking in filmmaking. How important is networking, building your network? And then what advice would you have for fresh grads, new to the sector, people that want to build relationships with producers, writers, actors, filmmakers? What advice do you have?
Networking is a big key in the film industry. You have to attend events. You have to go to the Saudi Film Conflict. You have to go to the Red Sea Film Festival. You have to go to the Saudi Film Festival. If you can go and buy tickets to attend to the Pan Arab like film festivals, like Cairo Film Festival or Oran Film Festival, you're gonna meet studios there. You're gonna meet networks there. You're gonna meet Netflix there, NBC, Shahid, Rotana, ART2. Like you can meet all these executives and you can have conversations with. And my advice when you go there, make it short. Just introduce yourself and just maybe get their email or contact. Don't talk about your project yet. Don't talk about your story. Don't go, hey, listen, I have the best story in the world. Like I'm sure this is gonna change the world. Don't do that. Just maybe grab their contact, business card, maybe their number, an email, and pray that they respond to you. So once the festival mess is over and finished, like after a month or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, just email them like a short email. Hey, I met you real quick in the festival. I would like to have a coffee with you or maybe have a meeting with you, online meeting. And that's when you go there and tell them about your project and your ambitions and your story and who you are. And you have to have something ready. You have to have, even your background should be solid. Like don't go introduce yourself to the CEO of NBC and you don't even have a short film.
Okay.
Like, what are you meeting him
You have
for?
something to represent yourself when you
Yeah.
introduce
Like,
yourself.
this is my short film, watch it before our meeting, like,
In the email, like not in
Yeah.
person. Okay.
and then like that's how I would do it. I would meet. So I used to be that person, like meeting that guy. He's like, hey, listen, I have this story, and the guy is late. He has a panel discussion, or maybe he's meeting someone, or
Yeah, I get
and
what
he's
you
just
mean.
on the way. And I was like, yeah, sure, and he's just gonna shut. And he might look rude to you, and he might sound rude to you, and you might hate him.
His schedule is probably just full. Yeah, don't take it personally if
Yeah.
someone rejects you or anything like that.
Yeah,
That's what I'd say.
it's not personal at all. And so many young filmmakers approach me nowadays in festivals,
Right.
and I tell them, guys, I'm a little bit busy, and they might feel like I'm a little bit like
Don't feel offended. He's a good person. I know him. I know him. Where's the camera? You should know this too. I know him.
yeah.
It's like the Pedro Pascal moment. You should know this too. I know him. Okay, so very quickly, I want to ask you, how do you stay motivated during challenging times, whether it's financing, rejection, whatever it may be in the world of filmmaking? How do you stay motivated?
Trust the process.
Inshallah.
Trust the process. I mean, you should have a process. You should have a process. I have a process. You want me to reveal it?
Yeah, very quickly. If you can, go tell me. Step one.
Work, educate, pray on time, eat healthy, work out, sleep, repeat. That's
I
it.
like that. Yeah, we should clip it. Someone clip it. It's a good-
You do that every day. You do that every day, and one day it will come. Trust the process. So when the or stay in the boat. That's another like trilogy. What is it?
What is analogy? Not analogy.
Analogy. Yeah, another. Yeah, another.
Hold on, not
analogy, yeah.
analogy. I should know this. Oh, whatever. Okay, I know what you
Okay,
mean.
stay in the boat. Yeah. So when there is a hurricane or في عاصفة or there is something going on in the ocean, stay in the boat. Don't jump. Because if you jump, you might die. Stay in the boat, and if the boat flips,
Keep
stay
going.
in the boat. The hurricane will pass, and this will pass.
There's a saying I know. It's the fish aren't going to jump in the boat, which means like you have to get in the boat and keep fishing, keep going,
Yes.
because the fish aren't going to jump in the boat themselves. Just keep
Okay.
fishing. But
Keep
your analogy
fishing,
is good too.
Yeah.
Don't die. Don't like. It might be better than mine. It's like don't die. Mine's just
Yeah.
go fishing. But
Yeah.
okay.
So trust the process.
Yeah, it's good advice. Okay, are there any resources, books, courses, websites, anything you can recommend for aspiring filmmakers?
Use AI.
Okay, in what way?
Use AI to brainstorm, to develop your ideas, to develop stories, to ask about the audience. And I think it's very important. Like they teach us most of the time, it's about story you want to tell, and I agree. But you have to know how to tell the story for the audience, and it's very important. Like you can tell a story the way you want, but no one will understand the story but you, and that's a problem. Like
Okay.
you don't want to have the audience leave the film not understanding anything or not even engaged with the characters. So you have to think of the audience today is very smart, like they understand what's happening and they want to be engaged with the story. So think of the audience, use AI for that, use for AI, like research stuff. What do audience like nowadays? Tell the story you want, but represent it in how the audience wants to watch it.
Can I ask something? This might not be a popular question. when I think of journalism and I think of like stories I read, so AI is just, it's an open library, it's pulling information from anything. Are you ever concerned about plagiarism in the future? For example, if a student filmmaker goes and, asks AI to generate a story or asks for advice and it accidentally, not accidentally, AI pulls from something that's already existing online, like a screenplay or something.
It could happen, honestly. I mean,
You predict it happening in the future, like accidentally, where they wouldn't know. They're like, I created something so amazing. And then it's Hamilton. And they accidentally like pulled Hamilton accidentally. Do you predict something like that happening?
I think whoever created the AI has who controls the AI. So if they allow the AI to do that, it will. You
It
know what I
can. It's a
mean?
library, I think.
Yeah.
It's
So
possible.
I hope not. I hope not. But I know everything is possible. Like there's good people and there's evil people. So hopefully the evil people do not control
It's
AI.
fine. I think AI is used to like, there's so much benefit in it, honestly. It's just about knowing how to prompt, like give it the prompt and
But don't be an ignorant. I think people should like
know the sector.
know the AI and use it to their
Mhm.
advantage. You should use AI to develop your ideas, ask about productions, ask about prep. How can we film faster? How can we
Yeah.
film efficient? How can we have higher quality? I think it's very important. It's going to save you time. And I think the AI is just there to save us time. Like I think instead of doing it in 3 months, you might do it in a month and a half.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, I want to ask you, off the top of your head, what is your dream? What is your ultimate goal in filmmaking?
um, Honestly, is I would love to contribute to the next generation. Honestly, this is my ultimate dream. Is like I want to have a foundation. I will help to secure this foundation for the upcoming filmmakers, where they can say, "Oh, I want to tell a story," and then they can follow this guideline of how can they make a movie in the most sustainable way,
You already are.
so they can
Through this
make
episode, you are.
so they can no but I want to be able to produce 4 or 5 films a year, 6 films a year, 8 films a year. And I think it's very important. And that's how you have the cycle like turning,
Mhm.
and having more talents. Like think of the younger talents today in that are just graduating. I'm sure they're so sophisticated about each shot and they're so passionate. They need to be empowered, you know they need to be having the right platform and give them the right tools, the right equipment, so they can showcase their talents and showcase their way of telling stories. And I would love to contribute to this, honestly. Like I would love to have my company AK Pictures be part of that, and I hope one day before I die,
Yeah, inshallah. Amen. You're young. Inshallah, you will. You have a long way to go.
inshallah.
Inshallah. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received in your life or career?
The one that I think of now is in my career is like tunnel vision.
Okay.
So imagine you're in a tunnel and everything around you. If you're in a tunnel, you're only going to see the other side of it, the light, and you're just going to walk toward the light. So I think the most important is to choose your battle, have that tunnel vision. This is my battle. I'm just going to go for that and trust the process. So you're going to keep doing the same thing until you finish that tunnel and find another tunnel and find another tunnel. Don't get distracted. I think don't get distracted is a very good advice, because today it's really hard, extremely hard to sit down and write story, because there's so many distractions: your phone, your friends, your family. Go pick up the laundry, or like go let's meet out for a lunch, or let's meet out over a coffee, or scrolling down social media. So how can we not be distracted? So you need to give yourself, at least if you want to be a filmmaker, 2 3 hours a day just for your film, the film you want to make. If you're a filmmaker and you don't have a film, then why are you a filmmaker?
Yeah, sure.
This is what you do. You wake up every day, you look at your story, develop it further. The next day, the same thing, the same thing, the same thing. And you look at the investment, I mean, you see, like this is what I'm struggling with nowadays is actually, imagine there was an establishment where like they can help you with the fund. This guy helps you with the distribution, and this guy helps you with everything, all the logistics. And you as a filmmaker, you just focus on the story. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You wake up and you just focus on the story, and while everyone else is taking care of the funding, the distribution, and everything. And we want to be that platform. We want to be that establishment. I
Yeah.
want to be the talented filmmaker who trusts the establishment. Like, I want to trust the establishment that they can provide me the money, they can provide me the space to practice my creativity, and that's what I feel is needed.
So you're providing that service for the next generation. You're already doing it, Yanni, through
I'm
AK
I'm I'm
Pictures
I'm, doing it, and I want to master it. I want to sustain
and
it
expand it as well. Yeah.
so I can lay it over to the next generation.
Yeah. That's brilliant. Quick question. What age did you start filmmaking? How old were you?
I was
Your
20,
career.
21.
Okay, 20. Let's go back to 19-year-old Aymen Khoja. What's something you wish you knew about filmmaking before you got into the sector? At 19, if you could talk to your 19-year-old self and tell him, by the way, this is what it's going to be like, what would you
Yeah.
tell
I
yourself?
wish I knew it would be very hard. It would be very
Yeah.
complicated. It would be very difficult. It would
Don't say that to
be
our viewers.
I wish someone told me that,
Yeah.
honestly. Like, I wish someone told me, like this is the entire circle, and you have to be a filmmaker. You have to not only be a creative storyteller, because today, if you are a Saudi filmmaker and you're focused only in creativity, you're not going to survive. You need to understand business. You need to understand how you pitch your idea, how you sell your idea, and you need to understand that. You need to understand business aspect. Okay, you're a good storyteller, but if you don't have that today in Saudi, you're not going to be able to survive. You need to understand the whole, the, what is it, like the whole universe of,
Yeah.
of
The
the
whole
film
sector as a
industry.
whole.
Yeah.
You have to look through it from every lens.
And I wish when I was young, someone taught me that. Someone told me, this is what you're going to be facing.
Yeah. I agree. How are we doing on time? Are we good? Are we good? Okay, good. I want to keep going. No, make it 10. Let's double. Double, give it to the next person. I'm the next person. Okay, let's keep going. No, Adi, tell me. It's okay. It's okay. We're good. Okay, so we talked about the realistic side of filmmaking. It's difficult. You can't just have a concept and passion. You need to know the business side of it. I don't want to have our viewers watch this and go, "Oh, I have passion, but khalas, I can't do it. I don't know business. I don't." What's the positive, fun side of filmmaking? Is there anything? You're like,
No, of course,
it's completely terrible. No, I'm joking.
No, I think there is a lot of fun moments in making film.
Travel's
Yeah,
fun.
it's you get to meet a lot of interesting people,
Mhm.
very creative people, even though they're very sometimes like hard to deal with.
Egos. Ooh,
There's a
we
lot of
need to talk about that.
yeah,
Okay.
there's a lot of egos in creativity, and everybody is predictive over their voice. But it's really fun if you know how to navigate through this. It's really fun to work on seeing your story being like
Come to
produced.
life. Yeah.
Like someone is acting in it, and the entire process is really fun. Once you're in the film, it's really super fun. Like now outside of the film.
لا عادي ترى I've knocked the mic across the room. So what you
Okay.
did is fine.
So outside the film, yeah, maybe there's some like hiccups here and there,
Mm.
but once you're in the film, it's extremely fun. Imagine you're traveling. Like, I filmed in LA, I filmed in Romania, I filmed in Everest, I filmed in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, in Egypt. So you get to meet a lot of people. You get to like witness so many different events and a lot of different problems. If you love problems, and I mean, you're gonna enjoy solving them.
I love problems. I
And
should be
and
filmmaker.
some many problems, they're not solvable like by money. Like you have to be there with communications, find creative solutions to solve the problem. Sometimes an ego problem. How can you solve that? And it's fun. Yeah.
Okay, good. So you should be a filmmaker. Good. I want to come to it from every single angle possible. I'm keeping track of the time, but I want this video to benefit everyone across filmmaking. So let's talk about actors side. Okay, so you obviously had a role. I mean, you cast your actors, you cast the people in your films. So Lema is an actress. She's still coming up. She's done courses, she's studied, she's practiced, she's done mock little not interviews. What is the word? Tryouts, auditions,
Casting, audition.
casting. I've done mock auditions with friends. I'm practicing. How do I stand out in an audition if I want to be cast in one of your films? Or, what advice do you have for an aspiring actor to be in a Saudi film?
If you are at the beginning of your career, I think be around filmmakers, young filmmakers, student filmmakers. So if you're in Jeddah, go to King Abdulaziz University, go to Effat University. They have a filming program. Hang out with their students. Put yourself in front of work with directors. Work with the directors in the same level at you, which is at the beginning of their career. So get a chance to practice. Be in that environment, like a film production environment. If you're in Riyadh, there are, I'm sure, like universities في الرياض ولا في الدمام.
Yeah.
So hang out, maybe network, like you have to be, like that's the thing. I get approached by so many young actors and they want to be in my next film, for example. But it's really hard for me to just, like, I'll give you my mindset. Like, it's really hard for me just to give someone an opportunity just by texting me. And if I ask them, what have you done? Show me your, I respond. This is the good thing about me is I respond to everyone who reaches out to me. So I tell them, what have you done? It's like, yeah, I am so passionate about it. My mom tells me I should be an actress. I don't think that's enough. I don't think that's enough. I think you need to show me, like, you need to send me a reel, like you go work, network, work in short films, work on go to play in theaters, like someone films you playing in theaters in every city nowadays. Like there is a theater in Riyadh, Jeddah, there's so many plays happening. So you can go and play, try it out, and film yourself. And then send that to me. And then I can say, okay, maybe you have a role for this character or that,
Okay.
I think it's important to film yourself acting. Like, don't trust people tells you that you can be an actor, because you have to go through the process.
Okay.
You have to get in front of camera. You have to deal with directors, and you can network with younger. I'm sure if you go to any young filmmaker, hey, if you need an actor, I'm available for you. They will reach you out, 100%.
So hypothetical actor Lama should have an online presence somewhere that you can see a link to. You can click on a video, see them in action, and they should try to network, reach out to local communities, acting communities.
Yes.
So this is good advice. If in another life, if I wanted to be an actress, I'll implement these two. It's a good.
You should. You're a good actor, but you should not take my words. You should.
I should film myself and test it out. Good advice. Okay, so I'm getting looks from the videographer. We're getting ready to wrap up, I promise. So let me look through if there's any questions that I feel like I do want to touch upon before we do our last question and then the rapid fire. Ooh, okay, let's do the last question. So, as a filmmaker, as the founder of AK Pictures, what advice would you give to someone wanting to follow your footsteps as a filmmaker?
Make your first feature film. So, yeah, if you have a short film ready, make your first feature film. Try it out. It's not that complicated. I know maybe I spoke about it, like how difficult, but it's really fun. You should make your first feature film. Write it, and you have to do it in the right order.
That's okay. I did.
Big spy. I don't know.
No, it's okay. Your Siri has a weird accent. No, I shouldn't judge. We love all Siris here.
Yeah, so it's not Siri. It's Big Spy.
Oh, what is that?
It's Samsung.
Oh, even cooler. Excuse me. Excuse me. Good.
So yeah. So what is what I mean? What
you were saying make your feature film for anyone wanting to be.
Yeah, I think it's important just to to do it in the right order. Like, you need to write your script. You need to break it down, make a film that you can actually make. Write a film that you actually produce. Be resourceful. Like think of the network you have and think of the places you can access. So let's say I want to make a film, but I can't convince investors to give me those millions. Because I can't. So think of the access of the people that Maybe I can get the coffee shop for free. So maybe I make a scene in that coffee shop. Maybe I make it about two characters. One is, I don't know, boy or a married couple. They're getting a divorce. I don't know. So in that coffee shop, how can this be useful to the story? And then and make your story fits the resources you have. And then, as simple as that. And then, voila, you have a feature film, and edit it. And from that experience, you're going to showcase that you delivered a feature film. It's a good story, and the quality of it, it's fine. If it's not that high quality, you can learn and do it better the next time, But you can put it on cinemas. Today, dying for Saudi content. You know, Netflix, Shahid, all the platforms, even the exhibitors, they're dying for Saudi content. So it's guaranteed. You know how hard it is to put your film in theatrically in the US? Extremely difficult. Like there's 1% chance for an independent filmmaker to have their film in the US theater. In Saudi, you have 90% chance to put your movie in cinemas. You know what I mean? So make a feature film, put it in cinemas, and just be proud of it. And that's the best argument you can have with any investor. Look, I have a movie in cinemas. I made this much money, this much tickets, and now I'm ready to make the next one.
Amazing. Rapid fire questions. I didn't give these to you. I'm so sorry. You have like no information.
Fine.
By the way, some of the interview questions he knows, but a lot of these we were just talking like as we were speaking and you had no information about.
Improv. I mean,
and you responded so quickly. This is what I'm saying. You're an expert in the sector.
You know, like when your teacher back in school gives you this summary and says, study this, and the questions will, if the test comes, and then it's nothing like this. So this is exactly what happened. You gave me these questions and nothing comes of it. It's all improv.
But it's good. It's good life practice. It's like, oh, I'm going to pull from this chapter. Not a single question there. Maybe
it's good for you. You got what you wanted, but it's not good for me now.
So much fun. Okay, rapid fire questions. Don't think too much about them. They're very fun, very light.
Okay.
Ready?
Let's go.
What's your favorite film of all time?
My favorite film of all time?
All time.
Gladiator.
Why? Okay, I can't ask why. Let's keep going. Who's your filmmaking inspiration?
Filmmaking inspiration? Sidney Lumet. See? You're not a...
I'll Google later.
Sidney Lumet made a movie. Actually, maybe that's my favorite. It's called 12 Angry Men.
Oh, I know 12 Angry Men. Okay. Well, that's good. It's an interesting film. Yeah, you're the film expert. Okay, so I should keep going. One word to describe your filmmaking style.
Simple.
Okay, good. When making films, coffee or tea?
Coffee, for sure.
What type of coffee?
Cappuccino with coconut milk.
You're so pretentious. No, it's good.
I mean,
one film you
lactose intolerance. That's
do you? I'm so sorry. That was insensitive. I'm sorry for all the lactose intolerant people. One film you wish you had made.
One film I wish I would Whiplash.
Okay. Traditional film schooling or life taught and in the field?
Life taught and in the field.
Last question. What did you think of this interview and discussions?
What do I think of?
Yeah, of this interview on discussions.
Life-changing.
Really? You're overdoing it now. But thank you, Aymen.
Thank you.
Those are all the questions that I have. I'm certain that our audience members are going to want you to come in for a part 2. And I'm pretty sure if you guys have any questions, DM them, comments. We'll have Aymen back for a part 2 if you'd like. And we can go deeper into the topic of filmmaking. Aymen Khoja, thank you so much for joining me on Discussions.
Thank you so much, Lama.
This was fun. Okay, thanks. Good. Cut.